Hi everyone and welcome to Learn English with Si. Today we're going to be learning about the present simple tense. So what exactly is the present simple tense? The present simple tense is one of four present tenses in the English language that are used for talking about something happening in the present, along with the present continuous tense, the present perfect tense, and the present perfect continuous tense. Can be used to talk about fixed events, repeated actions or events, general truths, and habits. Now, it's not used for talking about current actions such as I'm washing, I'm talking, and I'm walking. That's an example of the present continuous tense that we'll be dealing with in a different video. The form of the present simple is comprised of the subject, so I, you, she, he, it, etc., plus the base form of a verb, so think, watch, understand, for example. To give an example of the form, I dance when I'm happy is an example of the present simple tense. I dance when I'm happy. With the third person singular, so she, he, it, we add an S on the end of the verb. So she dances instead of I dance. I dance becomes she dances when she is happy. The endings vary, the verb endings, depending on the form of the verb. So for example, verbs ending in the Y change to an IES at the end. So fly becomes flies, cry becomes cries. An exception to this is if there's a vowel such as AE, I, O or U before the Y in a verb. So we use an S instead of an IES. Pay becomes pays, play becomes plays, and buy becomes buys. For verbs ending in double S, X, sh and ch, we add an ES at the end. So for example, match becomes matches, it matches. Fix becomes fixes, she fixes. Pass becomes passes, he passes. And rush becomes rushes, she rushes. In the negative and question forms, we use does or do plus the infinitive of the verb. So let's take an example of wanting to go to the park. The positive would be she wants to go to the park. And the question form would use does plus the subject, which is she, want to go to the park. So does she want to go to the park? The negative takes the form of the subject plus does in the third person singular. So she does not want to go to the park. Let's take a look at all of the different forms in this verb table here. So we've got the affirmative, the interrogative, and the negative. I've chosen understand as our verb, our example verb. So let's go through the different forms. I understand, you understand, he understands. See, we've added the S there because this is the third person. She understands, it understands, we understand, and finally they understand. In the interrogative or the question form, we use do to start with. Do I understand? Do you understand? And then in the third person does. Does he understand? Does she understand? Does it understand? Do we understand? Do they understand? Now to the negative form. I do not understand. Now do not can be changed to don't, it can be contracted, so you can either have I don't understand or I do not understand. You do not understand. He does not understand. Again, do changes to does in the third person. She does not understand. It does not understand. We do not understand. And they do not understand. So let's go on to talking about some uses of the present simple tense. So they can be used for fixed events, such as the party starts at 5 o'clock, her flight leaves at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and the exam is at 2:30 tomorrow. They can also be used for habits. Habits are just actions that you repeat often. So, I eat cereal for breakfast each day. She runs twice a week. He goes to yoga on a Thursday. And I love to eat chocolate. It can also be used for repeated actions or events, such as they go on holiday each summer to Italy, it snows a lot in winter, and I drive to work each morning. It can also be used for general truths, such as I'm hungry. This might be a situational truth like I'm hungry, that happens sometimes, or it might be a general truth that's always the case. So it is hot. They are Spanish is an example of a general truth. So if we're talking about some Spanish people, they're always going to be Spanish. She is tired, again a situational truth. Ice is cold, another general truth, and I don't like heat waves. We also use the present simple when we're giving instructions or directions. So you'll see this a lot with instructions on food packaging, such as seal the packet after use, or cook the pasta for 10 minutes. And also directions, such as with a sat-nav, or someone's giving you directions on how to get somewhere, such as take the next left and then the next right. Or if given instructions to someone verbally making a request, such as put the boxes down over there please. It can also be used with future constructions. So for example, we'll go to the party if she gets home soon. I'll tell her when she arrives. She won't go unless the rain stops. If you ask her, she will come. Now it's time for a quiz. What I want you to do is fill in the blank spaces with the correct form of the verb. I've put the verb at the end in the brackets here, so we've got come, catch, do, fly, and push. So I want you to put the correct form of the verb based on the subject. Now you've got 3 minutes starting from now to do so. I'm going to start the timer right now. Good luck. That's your 3 minutes, that's your time up. Now if you need more time, you can pause the video and go back and have a look at some of the example sentences. But for now, we're going to move on to the answers. So for the first sentence, come becomes comes, catch becomes catches with an ES, again because of the third person. Does she understand? As we're using the question form. And the third person, so we do becomes does. They don't want to come tomorrow, or you could have do not instead. He flies to Italy tomorrow, fly becomes flies, IES at the end. And she pushes the wheelchair. So again, because of the SH at the end, we use an ES. So well done if you got one or all of the answers correct. It's quite difficult to learn this to start with, so don't be too disheartened if you haven't managed to get all of them correct right now. It takes a lot of practice sometimes to get the right verb endings, as they vary quite a lot in the present simple tense. So it's important to not overthink tenses too much. Even most native English speakers can't identify the names of the different tenses, but they can still use them accurately. So that's because they learn them in context, and also native speakers are practicing writing and speaking tenses all of their lives, so it just becomes naturally for them. This is a really good way to learn this. So instead of learning all of the individual endings, sometimes it's helpful to learn whole sentences that you can apply to situations, such as talking about fixed events. So learning how to talk about certain situations, such as if there's going to be a party, so the party will be at 9 tonight, or her flight arrives at 9 tomorrow. So I highly encourage you to practice by writing and speaking and learning this in context. So you can follow me and contact me via email, Instagram and Facebook. So you can email me at learnenglishwithsi@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at learnenglishwithsi and Facebook at learnenglishwithsi too. So if you want any kind of advice about learning English or what I've been teaching you today, please feel free to message me, follow me as well, because I post lots of interesting content each day with different English expressions, words, idioms, and different subject topics, such as tenses and different forms of speaking and writing. So thank you for tuning in today for today's lesson. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.